Are GNU+Linux users elitist? Well, the mere use of GNU+Linux does not make one elitist. GNU+Linux distros are actually quite easy as a matter of fact. They may even be very much easier than something like Microsoft's Windows. It is just the learning of new things that may be difficult to some people, where learning any new thing is going to be difficult. Had you started on the GNU+Linux, then learning Windows might as well be difficult, or the same, the way you would perceive it to be difficult to use GNU+Linux. So, then the question is, are there elitists on the GNU+Linux world? Well, yeah, sure, but I think a more appropriate way to ask the question is, are there people who are elite? Are some people what could be considered to be elite among the GNU+Linux users? Well, yes, and I'd say the developers are indeed quite elite, where the development of operating systems is a skill, and these people certainly excel at that. I have just made this separate speech where I discuss the fact that people are not equal and everyone should embrace excellence, and indeed, I would say that these operating systems developers, they are excelling at what they do quite well, so they are people who then could be considered elite, and I say that's a good thing. What I find unfortunate is that people outside of the GNU+Linux world perceive the GNU+Linux as a elitist thing in a negative manner, where it is seen as a bad thing. And that I explained further in detail in that speech about people not being equal, where really I would say that the people who look down on the GNU+Linux users as some sort of elitist peoples who think of themselves as being better than everyone else, I think right there envy smells. You see, it is a fact that in general people who use GNU+Linux are going to be better at computer science than people who do not. Because if you look at it this way, and the default behavior of people is to use, let's say, Microsoft's Windows because it comes pre-installed on the computers they buy at some store. They buy a computer and then on it is Microsoft's Windows. So, of course, there is already a selection process for the users of GNU+Linux. They are the ones who go out of their way to install something else. So that demonstrates the technical know-how of installing an operating system. So already with that there is a superiority to the GNU+Linux users. But I would say that on its own is not necessarily too important, but well, maybe it might actually be. So I'm not actually quite sure on that. But the even more impressive accomplishment is the development of the operating system, because you have to keep in mind that the de facto way that many people would have perceived the creation of software for a very long time, and many might still do today, is that it takes some company with some big funds and a lot of money and all that stuff to make software and get things done. But here we have an operating system, for the most part entirely developed by volunteers, people who contribute to the operating system and all the software on it, around it, for basically no cost or payment for the most part, where it is all done under philosophical reasons and or just personal reasons of wanting to contribute software and just liking the process of making software and wanting to make it public and share it with the world. So I would say that is quite the accomplishment. So already the fact is that the way the operating system came to be is already incredible. And also speaking from the technological side, the GNU+Linux is derived from the superior design of the Unix operating system as compared to the miserable DOS and CP/M origins of Microsoft's Windows. So there is also a technological superiority to the design of the operating system. 2. So basically, on every level, there is a superiority to GNU+Linux over, let's say, like Microsoft's Windows, which is like the biggest, most popular operating system, like on the desktop computers at least. But it's also like the comparison is just fine. It works just as well to like the smartphones do. Yeah, that works as well, just as well. You know, the smartphone users. Yeah, that's I'll group them all in the same. You know, it's all the same. It's all the same proprietary crap. All the same, no difference. So the smartphones and the Microsoft's Windows, all the same stuff. So there is a technological superiority. There is the selection process for the users of GNU+Linux. There is those operating systems developers. So yes, the GNU+Linux world in general is quite better than those Microsoft Windows and the smartphone things. So then, it is very unfortunate that this is seen as a bad thing where people outside of the GNU+Linux world would perceive it negatively, where perhaps they perceive a certain, in combination with the elitist attitude, a certain arrogance perhaps, or something. But I would say that is just a sign of the inferiority. I already mentioned this about the envy, where if someone unskilled with computers or whatever the reason may be refuses to switch from the bad operating systems to the superior GNU+Linux world, or in general just the wider free software Unix-like world, which includes like the BSDs and OpenIndiana, or perhaps even Haiku, maybe. I'm not too familiar with Haiku, so I don't really know to comment on that one much, but even just the wider Unix-like free world, yeah, it doesn't even have to be GNU+Linux specifically. Unix-like in general, they are all derived from Unix, and they are all free libre software, the ones that are. Some Unixes are proprietary. Anyway, Unix derivatives. They might as well be grouped into the same group for this speech. But yeah, I would say that the NPC person out there who doesn't care about the fact that their privacy is violated and they have no freedom on their computer and they are using inferior technology, yeah, I'd say that compared to that, the developers of GNU+Linux are elite, and an elitist attitude is totally justified in the free Unix-like world. And not only that, I say it should be retained and perhaps even perpetuated even further, where I'd say it's a good thing to see the Unix-like derivatives, the free Unix-like derivatives as better, and all the philosophies and such that go with it, whether it is the free software movement or the quote open source unquote one. All those things, even quote open source unquote one, is definitely far superior to proprietary software. I would pick quote open source unquote anytime over proprietary software. So yes, GNU+Linux is elite, and it ought to be. Do join us in the free world, the better world. Technological superiority of the operating system is real. And I'm tired of holding back and not saying so. Windows is crap, and so are all those other things. I group the smartphone things all as the same. So, if you are a competent computer user, yeah, please get away from there. Join us in the free world, the Unix-like world. Here we have superior technology and software freedom. Everything that is good is here, and everything that is bad is there. So yeah, if you are there, that is, if you are a user of Microsoft's Windows, or something even worse, a smartphone as they are called, yeah, throw those things away. They are bad, and to like them, to promote them, is stupid, and you should not do that. So, software freedom and GNU+Linux it is, or just the wider Unix-like free world. Right, I take no issue with you if you use BSD. BSDs are cool. Yeah. Or Open Indiana. Those are basically the big Unix-like systems that are free. There are some minor obscure projects that are free libre Unix-like systems out there. But those are the three big ones. GNU+Linux, the BSDs, and Open Indiana. Or just Illumos derived distros. Even more widely than just Open Indiana. Anyway, yeah. GNU+Linux is definitely the biggest one, and is the one I would suggest you investigate first as a new user if you are that. But for those who are not new users, yeah, don't be ashamed of the superiority. There's nothing there to be feeling bad about. Take pride in the technological superiority and do spread it. Just be careful that your pride does not turn into arrogance where you cannot see the flaws and you can't see straight anymore, where arrogance is when you can't see the reality anymore, when you believe a fictional version of the universe. And in that fictional universe, everything is best, and you overestimate yourself and underestimate your opponent. So yeah, arrogance is an enemy. Don't let arrogance prevail. But there is nothing wrong in taking pride in a certain superiority. Right. So that's that for this speech. Until next time, bye.